everybody knows it's open to the public forum. It is being recorded, and if you are outside, if you want to look at it on YouTube or on the college website, that's available also. And now we have an opportunity for members of the public to suggest additional topics for discussion or to address topics of interest. And you want to present, we will limit you to 3 minutes. Is anybody here to address the board? Seeing none, we'll go to item number 3, which is the chapter update. Mr. Annapolis.
Thank you. I have a couple of things just to announce, and I've got my right hand and left hand people here to help guide us through this. Freddie Nursing Program update. Just to give you a quick update, simply is that we are kind of tabling that effort for right now. There have been some. We have worked diligently with the folks in Fredericksburg to secure hospital locations for our clinicals. They have been unable to do that, and we've been unable to do that. Hospitals don't want to give us that letter. That letter is required so that we can go to 2 boards of nursing to get permission to move forward. And until we get that, we can't go to SACS or the coordinating board to move forward. So it's all a domino effect. So rather than just scuttling that, we propose that we're going to kind of table it for now, turn our efforts to other things, and spend our money, and they can spend our money wisely in a different direction for now, and then we'll pick this back up next year. Ted, did you were kind of, you and Dr. Ady have anything more to add than what I've said?
No, sir, that's pretty much
good.
it.
The second thing is, I'd asked Ted to come and Dr. Ady too, to give us a quick update on Ford, because we started that program, I think, a week and a half or so ago, and so I want to quickly just let you know where we're at with that program. It is up and running.
So just to kind of give you some quick updates on milestones.
It's
Can everybody hear me? I don't think it's on.
There we go. So classes began September 28th. The students began the online portion of the courses. And then on October 5th, they began the on-site classroom instruction. And the reason why I'm kind of just going in order is on October 12th, they not only performed in class, but importantly, they got to go to Automax, where they had 4 bays reserved for us and the students. And they got to start getting a real-world interactive lesson there at the dealership. From there, this week, we have 9 students right now total in the class. They are actually on site at the dealers whom are likely to be their future employers. And so right now, we've got 6 students at Automax and Clean. We've got 1 at Johnson Brothers in Ford in Temple, Texas. And we've got 2 at Philip Ford. This is kind of a quiz. Does anyone know where that's at? Nederland, Texas. Nederland.
It's a Dutch colony.
Yes, sir.
Airport offer.
Very good. When it dries, I had to look it up. That's why I thought I quizzed it. But yes, it's between Goma and Port Arthur. As far as vehicles that we received, we've actually received 4 out of the 5 vehicles. Right now, we're waiting on the Ford Explorer, but we received the F-150, F-250, the Lincoln Continental, and a Ford Escape. And those vehicles are all important because what they do is they bug each one of those vehicles individually with a certain issue, and then the students have to then go and troubleshoot. And then just real quick before I turn to Dr. Ady, I had the opportunity to speak with some of the students when I was down in the auto shop, and I just asked them point blank, what do you think of the program, how do you like it? And the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. The biggest thing that they really like about this program, and they're actually now starting to sell it to their friends in the military, is that we actually have a very hands-on approach, and there's an apprentice-like curriculum. So they're going to the dealers, they're getting their hands on the equipment, they're learning about the warranty process. Where the other programs that are being offered right now, the GM program in particular, it's more classroom-based and online, and so they're really not getting it hands-on. So right now, that's a big deal for them. So,
And no, I don't get to drive one of those cars.
Well, I think Ted Gonzalez did a great summary. Just to add, we well. He's ASE certified, and so he's very enthusiastic, very excited about the program. We met with him before the program started to make sure he has everything he needs as far as classroom connectivity, access, email, the little and the big things I guess you need to have the program running. And from experience, I can tell you that we have a number of transition programs. The first cohort is always a challenge, because you learn and you modify a little bit with the second cohort, but it's wonderful to have that positive student feedback, because again, these are our customers, and not just customers, these are our students, and they need employment after they finish this program in the auto industry. So we're very excited to have this program here on campus and to teach that.
Thank you. Thank both of you. It's a great program, and I don't know that most of you may not know this, but almost all of the programs that we instruct here, we instruct for better than minimum wage, so it's a livable wage. So typically we look at $12 an hour or more being that wage. So most all of our certificate programs and all of our programs we've run through beginning ed have that component. We link that up with the Texas Workforce Commission. This is one of them. And that instructor she mentioned was recommended highly by Ford. So we needed an instructor, so we hired him. But that's how that fell out. Anyway, thank you. Ms. Merlot, you have an announcement you want to come make?
I do.
It's time for graduation. We're going to have a virtual graduation, as you all know, for December. So Ms. Merlot is going to tell us what our role is.
We have the benefit of looking at a lot of virtual graduations since March. So we pulled out the things we liked best, and one of the things I think that I liked best was there were a lot of personal congratulations from board members and administrators and faculty. So we'd like to film an individual congratulations from each board member next week, either before or after the board meeting. And you can we'll show up probably about 45 minutes in advance, and we're going to leave. And we'll have the backdrop set up. So it doesn't require a lot of preparation on your part of it to know that we're going to do it and that you'll be on camera. And the chancellor asked me to kind of put together some examples so that you can know what we're talking about. I'm going to hand this out. These are lifted exactly from another virtual graduation. I also learned that all business department chairmen must be the same, because there's a business department chair in Ohio that doesn't sound anything like Les, but he's the same person.
Yeah, Mr. Hall, pass those out. I didn't want you to come in here blind saying, okay, what do you want me to say? What should I say, or whatever? So this gives you an idea of what others have said, and we'll use this as our straw man. You can make any remarks you want. Please hold it less than 5 minutes. Less than 2 minutes, actually. But it's just a congratulatory remark from you, not a speech.
And this does not replace the regular remarks that the board chairwoman.
Right. Okay, thank you. That completes my report, sir.
Next item on our agenda is the SAC COC Board of Trustees Self-Evaluation Summary Report. Dr. Rowe.
Good afternoon.
Howdy.
Thank you all for doing the self-assessment report of the board that is required by SACS, a yearly assessment of your activities and how you feel about your participation in our board of trustees is required by SACS. This is the third year we've done it, and so now we're starting to get some comparative data. Ms. Havens has handed out the report to each of you, and I'm just going to summarize a little bit of information and give you a little more than what you can actually see in the numbers. There we go. So this is clearly in your document. The overall average of all of your numbers, the responses to all of the questions came out to be 4.64, which is very high because it's out of 5. So overall, y'all are very, very pleased with how the board is working and how you feel as far as being a member of the board. Last year it was 4.71, just to give you a little bit of an idea, so we're still very, very high. There were there were 7 questions that each and every one of you rated as a 5. So you're very, very, very pleased with these 5, and you've got the details in your packet there. We had 4 that were the lowest rated. Now keep in mind, it's on a scale of 1 to 5. So even a 3.5 is still not low, but it's the 4 lowest that came up on the averages of individual questions from each of your responses. Oh wait, why don't you go back? Yes. I just wanted to talk about one of them because we've somewhat addressed this one already. 4B, the board regularly reviews the mission and vision of the institution. I don't know if you recall, but a few months ago, the chancellor asked that we start including the mission, vision, and strategic plan priorities on your agendas so that it's there for you to see every single meeting that we have. And to remind you, back in 2018, we did a full study of our strategic plan and revised our mission in 2018 based on the results of the work we did in teams of employees and surveys of students who worked on the strategic plan. Our strategic plan and our mission vision is typically put in place for 5 years. From 2018 to 2023 is the most recent one. We'll start looking at it again in 2022. But if at any time there's something that is very, very, that stands out to you that we need to look at, please call it to the chancellor's attention because I think we're good, but you guys are bored. Okay, thank you. Comparatively, we demonstrated improvement and on the questions from last year that were rated the lowest. 2A, the board periodically reviews and evaluates its policy. Last year, y'all rated it at 4.14. This year, it's 4.33. So according to SACS, we're demonstrating improvement. And the board actively supports the College Foundation and fundraising efforts. Was rated, this was some of the lowest last year at 4, and now it's at 4.17. So that's what I will report when we do our decennial, where we've improved. Now, this year, as I mentioned, we had 4 that were considered lower. So hopefully next year, we'll see improvement of these 4. And the last slide that I really have is the summary of the categories. And you can see, because each of your questions were grouped into categories, and there are 9 categories. 2 of our categories we're showing improvement on from 2019 to 2020, which is great. You've got this specifically in your packet that you can analyze a lot further. The 2 that we had improvement are we're advocating for the college, which is great. That shows a lot of your efforts. And the board CEO relations. I think those are 2 of the most important. So showing improvement there is great. So the next steps are totally up to you. They're up to you, the board chair, what you do with this information. I would ask that if you do have any kind of meetings or you have any actions based on this, that you do report it to me so I can document it for our SACS decennial review in 5 more years. Thank you.
Any questions, Dr. Gurley? Thanks very much, Dr. Gurley. Our next item on the agenda is discuss the November, December meeting dates. Mr. Knopfler and I talked about this. We've got a constraint that we kind of had previously against the holidays that come in the middle of the week and back to the December classes. Going to terminate before we have a chance to do anything, and we still have the constraint that we've got our financials that can't possibly be done earlier than the 15th, if they can't be done the 15th. And we also have a possibility that we might be able to get the annual audit result in December. If that be the case, we can approve that, then we have to do that before January anyway. So we ought to discuss the dates and get your input as to what we think we can do and achieve the common goal of meeting the requirement to have a board meeting monthly, and at the same time, we don't waste everybody's time ever. So, Mr. Knowles?
If you look on those charts, we gave you the October so you can see, today's the 20th and the board meeting is next week, the 27th. If you flip over to the next one, to November, it's 3 weeks to the next board workshop. And since we have the Thanksgiving holiday, if we were to have a workshop on the 17th and then your board meeting on the 1st, then you're only a week and a half away from the December, so it doesn't make much sense that we do it that way. My recommendation is for the 17th, I can't think of anything right now that may come up, but for the 17th, we have a back-to-back meeting that day. We have our board workshop, and then following that, we have our board meeting. That's one way to do it. Another way, of course, is to split it. Another way is to not have a board workshop, and just have a board meeting. We're required by law to have a board meeting, we're not required to have a board workshop. So, again, that's your call.
And one of the things we need to consider on that is what do we have coming up contract-wise, or what do we have that needs to be addressed? If we have anything, does anybody, Bob, do we have any contracts that are due to be renewed or to look at before the end of the year?
There's no major ones that I'm aware of, sir. There's something, just because of the nature of the beast, something could come up in the facilities area where there was an issue between now and then that we had to resolve, but there's nothing that I can think of that has that type of urgency that wouldn't be a normal SOP.
We just got some comments. We don't go ahead and talk to us. Well, what we could do is we could have a workshop at 11 o'clock and force the college to feed us. And then we could have a meeting at 1 o'clock. If anything came up, it's not gonna come up, we could cancel the workshop. But if we plan for it ahead of time, then I think we're good, because we have to make those announcements to the county and to the public, and so if we don't announce it, then we can't have a meeting. What do y'all think?
Either one of those options is not good. I'm okay. We gotta be here anyway, so if we have a workshop, fine. We don't have a workshop, fine.
I'm fine, okay.
Okay, so why don't we plan on 11 o'clock workshop for the moment, and depending on, if we have no items, we will contact you and let you know. Debbie will keep up with them, and then we'll have our board meeting at 1 o'clock. We'll provide a box lunch or something like that, between.
Both months.
Well, just for November, let's get to December, let's fix this one. So,
If you look at December, you've got the same
problem.
same community, and we don't have enough days, because of the holidays, to really have a meaningful meeting. The 15th would be the deadline, if we can get the Vernon to give us a report.
And Mr. Lake should be able to come in, don't you think, Bob?
I feel fairly certain that we will have the audit complete and we can present it on that day. To get all that done though, that's where most of mine and my staff's efforts will be. So giving the interim financial statement for those 2 months may not be presented on those dates, but if I get them completed shortly after, like the week of the holiday in November, we'll have them issued out to the board at least for a review, but they may not be done in time to present them at the November meeting and the December meeting.
And we understand that. It's a constraint that we have to work around because, like I said, this is kind of unusual to have a holiday in the middle of the month like that.
And I think last year we just had a board meeting in December. We didn't have a workshop.
That's correct. I think it was the other way around. But anyway, we had one meeting, you're right.
Had to be a board meeting.
But we could do the same thing we talked about, having a workshop at 11 and a board meeting at 1 and be flexible enough to cancel or call it audible, I guess we should say.
Yep.
If we won't run into any problems or if something comes up, we don't want to waste your time, that's my point.
We'll do an 11 and a 1 o'clock with a lunch that we'll provide on that day. And if we don't have anything for a workshop, we'll let you know. Either way, we'll let you know. But, and that,
Well, that's
Sure.
good. Should clear that up.
yes, sir.
The next item is recommending topics for upcoming agenda items. Does anybody have anything they would like to add to the agenda for next time? Sounds good. Okay. And announcement of the regular board meeting scheduled for Tuesday, October 27th. We've got that, and the board workshop and board meeting scheduled for November 17th, 2020. And I don't think we have a need for an executive session today. And that leaves us up to adjournment.